Welcome to the Lost Signals Discusses Film and TV. Using the revolutionary Manzur-Amosi Thurlow scale,
or MOTS,
we scrupulously review these art forms with an emphasis on narrative structure. Join us for another entertaining episode.
Hello there, welcome back to the Lost Signals Reviews Film and Television. I am just returned from the graveyard and came back wrong. I'm your host, Scott Thurlow, and I'm here with my friends Rich Perry, Stephen Amosi,
Undead as always,
and Chris Morgan.
I miss Fred Gwynn.
Yes, all of which who have also come back wrong. And as you may have gathered, we're going to discuss and review the 2019 version of Pet Sematary, based on the Stephen King classic novel. And what was the original Pet Sematary made in, Chris? You might know. The 80s?
Yeah, it was a book in the 80s.
Yeah, but when was a movie made? The first one, I mean.
Oh, the first movie was made in like 89, 90?
Okay.
Yeah,
So yeah,
just looked this up. I think it was 88.
It's been about 20 years, we'll say. So yeah, they did another one, and we're going to discuss it, I suppose. And Chris, you've got the funny logline for us.
Ellie's cat is missing.
No.
Dead. Ellie's cat
It's
is
both
dead,
missing and undead.
and so is Ellie.
Yes. Well done.
That went really
well.
Well, it depends.
Well, let's go on to the plot, and that'll be Rich.
Schrodinger's Cemetery. I like it. All right,
Yeah.
The plot is family moves up north from Boston to start over a new life where they're plagued by nightmares about something. They can't quite figure it out. Actually, they never really figure it out for the whole movie.
It was never made clear.
And then, tragically, their older daughter, Ellie, dies. And forgot. At some point, her cat gets killed. So then, Judd, their friendly old neighbor, decides to take Ellie's father to the cemetery, the special cemetery, which is like, hey, spare your cat here.
Let's just fuck around with that.
In the creepiest place possible.
Yeah. It's just spare your cat here and see what happens. So the cat shows back up.
Some kind of otherworldly lightning storm happening there.
And a Wendigo howling in the distance.
Completely natural.
The entire time saying, just ignore that.
Mm-hmm.
So the cat comes back and is immediately shown to be not right. And then, tragically, Ellie ends up dying from, it seems like the same truck driver that's been trying to hit everybody the entire movie. And then against...
Visiting redemption upon the family.
Against all common sense, her father decides to bring her back by burying her in the pet cemetery. And carnage and hilarity ensues.
Yeah.
Where she systematically murders all of the main characters. And, well, besides Judd, decides to bury them, including her father, and bring them back as undead.
So now they're all a big, happy, undead family.
Yeah.
I feel like this entire movie could have been avoided by somebody watching an episode of The Twilight Zone at some point in their life.
Mm-hmm.
No.
I think it could have been avoided if Judd was just like, I learned a lesson that day that I brought my dog back from the dead.
Yeah.
No, he thought it would work 30 years later. He said something like, Ellie's the first thing I had in my life that brought me joy, so I wanted to bring her cat back. Even though I knew it was going to go horribly fucking wrong.
Was that kind of creepy to you as what?
No.
Ellie was the first thing that brought joy?
No, he's a lonely old man.
Yeah, I don't...
It wasn't like...
I know it's very easy to see that.
No, I don't mean from like I mean just like in general. It was just like... I mean, like, I know he's supposed to be like a lonely old man, but still by the same token, it's just like... I don't know. I guess it was phrasing.
I don't know. I didn't get that vibe from it, but I guess I can see how one can get it.
Yeah.
And what the fuck were they trying to shoehorn a Wendigo in there?
Why didn't...
Wendigo?
First of all, they should have...
Wendigo.
Wendigo ate my baby. And also, it was dead.
Yeah.
Wendigo
I
ate
wish
my
that
baby
this
crazy.
movie had just taken a hard right turn, and it was all about them running from a Wendigo the entire time.
Yeah, I
That
would have
would've
loved
been
that.
much better.
Seriously.
Actually,
see
I
that
thought
movie, but-
I was hoping that she was going to turn out to be a Wendigo. It's just like, hey, I took your daughter's body.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was
But
the
yeah.
Blair Witch.
Who the hell knows
But-
what happened?
So that's what
Very
happened.
unclear.
And I'm looking at a 1 or a 2. Like, I was going to originally go with a 2. Like, I know we often qualify our scores like an R, like a mediocre 2. Because I feel like this movie is basically mediocre at best.
Yeah.
And it was like it's not like the plot was confusing or you can't understand it, but it was very basic. And yeah, like, I've never read, admittedly, the original novel, so I don't know like how
I've never
closely.
read the novel or seen the
Yeah, I have seen the original. Like, I'm more familiar with the original '89 movie for sure. Although it's been a while, but I saw it as a kid a couple of times. But regardless, like for this one, for what it is, I'm looking at either an okay 2 or even I can go down to a 1. So I'll open up. What do you guys make of it?
Okay, I read the book. I saw the original movie. This movie was devoid of atmosphere. It was by the numbers. I was completely bored, most of it.
I was very disinterested, yes, I'll say that.
It was like the whole thing with her sister. It's just like they manufactured some stuff that wasn't even... And there was like... I was like trying to count the seconds for the jump scares.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
But...
We'll get to that in style, but I see what you mean.
The ending was hilarious. So I'm giving it a 1.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I'm going to give it a 1 as well. This was not a very good movie. And that's pretty much it. Like so
that's all you have to say about that.
You mentioned that the plot wasn't like that difficult to follow, or you said it wasn't like that complicated of a plot, which it wasn't. But also, it just left so many things unexplained. And like, why did you introduce Wendigos?
Yeah,
like, why did you think that digging up your daughter and bringing her to a fucking pet cemetery was a good idea? Like, I don't like.
You know what?
I don't know.
God damn it! You just made me think of like. I love how they like skip over how any of these people carried these bodies up over that like wall of sticks.
Don't worry about it.
like Ellie when she's dragging her mother, I was like, I really want to see how.
Yeah,
she pulls this off.
Well, when you're undead, you have superhuman strength, perhaps. But
Oh wait,
like a
maybe the Wendigo
It's
helped.
not even that big. Like, she just went around the wall.
It was the Wendigo. That's how she happened. The Wendigo came over and carried the bodies to the promised land.
If only
To
the
the
I
movie
feel like,
promised
like
land.
the way they portrayed the Wendigo in this is just like he's like some old dude that's yelling at people to get off the wall.
Get
And it, like,
outta
doesn't really
here.
do anything.
Yeah. Well,
He's like this supernatural version of Stoop Kid. He's just like screaming from someplace in the forest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, I mean, what does that mean? You're giving it then to Plot Rich?
I'm giving it a 1.
Yeah. See, like I might follow suit. Like you're right. Like it's pretty leaky, if you will. It's bare bones, like you said, Chris. And
this one is me cobbling together everything in the film.
Fair enough. Like I was gonna give it like a bit more like slack and give it like whatever a fine 2, but I don't think it deserves that really. So I think we'll all go with 1s.
Somebody shit out this script. I mean, seriously.
No.
It was
I don't think it deserves a 0, but
yeah, I mean,
a 1's about all
Yeah.
I'm willing to give
All
it.
right.
I think.
Well,
no, the last half hour was
call it
really
that.
entertaining. But I mean, in all honesty, there was so much padding in this. I mean, even for like 1980s cocaine, Stephen King, the book was one of his shorter books, but it was all about atmosphere. And I guess we'll get to that in style. But yeah, all right, I'm just going to leave it at that because we'll get back to it in style.
Right.
But what I'm saying is it's not a complicated story. It's how you present it. And
Fair
we'll
enough,
get to that
yeah.
in story.
all right. So 1's all around for plot, and I'll move on to themes that'll be used, Tivo.
So I guess the theme is probably supposed to be something about loss.
Do not bury your
And-
children in the pet cemetery.
Yeah, and
Sometimes dead is better.
Yeah.
I
I thought you were going to say that line too, Steve.
I was saving
All
it,
right.
but
Fair enough.
it's ruined now. It's ruined.
Go on about themes.
But
there
yeah,
were
like
any.
this is about loss and grieving and things like that, or it's supposed
Sure.
to be. But they really do like the most broad stroke, like fucking hand wavy shit towards that, and then it just becomes like jump scare the movie for most of it.
Not even that. Like there were. All right, we'll get to that.
There
in
were
style,
a
but I know what
bunch
you
of
mean.
jump
There were a
scares,
lot
and like
of them.
why? Like it was
Every
all
time I
about
heard her fucking sister scrape across the ceiling,
like
I
yeah.
knew she was just going to drop down
Yeah.
into somewhere. Like,
There was supposed to, that was supposed to be so much more affecting, but they didn't spend the appropriate amount of like script on it
Setting it up
to make it good and effective, and it's like just fucking shitty and brutal. So I don't know.
So that sounds like a
I'm probably
pretty
gonna
much a
give
0.
themes a 0.
sure.
I don't think that they handled them correctly. And that's the biggest thing. Like, there were themes that could have been really good in this movie that were just, like, kind of brushed aside for
Yeah.
other
I think that's
worse things.
well said.
One of the things, like with what the hell's the wife's name? The mother,
Rachel, I think.
Rachel. The thing about in the book and the other movie is they played a bigger part in her life. I mean, they left her alone with her sister.
That's nice.
I
But
mean-
that ain't in this movie.
Well, yeah, no. My whole point is they got so caught up in the fucking dream sequences. Why?
I will admit. I will agree
It
with
was-
that. In
it was-
fact, yeah.
Annoying, but
it seemed like a whole separate movie, like horror movie,
Yeah.
Yes.
that was happening within this
That's
movie.
True.
yeah,
Like, it didn't seem
Yeah,
connected to the main
had,
plot
like,
at all.
No, like that had no like.
It had no like direct impact.
Conclusion.
Or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
but
That's the other thing. It had no conclusion at all.
But her connection to her sister, her parents, who try to be commandeering because they're not really fans of the husband. They kind of blame him for the death. Well, in the other two movies, it's Gage who dies.
I was gonna say, do they? Oh,
Yeah.
you mean in the other shit?
No,
not
in
this one?
the real one. I mean, there's a whole
The real one.
Sorry, in the not so psychiatric.
No, you were right the first time.
Okay, but there's a whole thing with Ellie's parents that they're all of a sudden assuming responsibility when they did not take really responsibility for the kids or for their own kids, like with the sister and all that stuff. And there was actually a reason for them in this movie. Her parents played no real
they
part
showed up
in
at
it.
the funeral, remember?
Yeah.
And his dad gave him like a disapproving look.
Yeah, dirty look. I noticed that.
But what I'm saying is they were part of the whole fabric. I mean, it wasn't.
Which how the fuck is he gonna blame him for his daughter's death? Like
because
they were all there.
But the thing is,
Yeah.
they're assholes, and that was so underdeveloped. But they really played up the gore of the
sisters
of the sisters thing because. And the sister did not die in a dumbwaiter, as I remember in either movie.
Who gives a shit?
But my whole point is,
it's a different movie that sucks.
Yeah, exactly. But
That's
what
what
I'm
we're
saying is
judging here.
that the sister and her parents, that was part of the reason he went to bring Gage back. It was. I don't remember the details, but that was actually integral to the thing. In this thing, it was just another reason to have makeup, some cheap scares. It's getting a 0 because this movie sucks. So
it was
right.
very much about the cheap
no,
scares.
but I really wanted to let you know that in the book and even in the original movie, which I don't think was all that awesome.
Sure, but it's better than this one. I guess
Yeah. But what I'm saying is that wasn't just random shit. I mean, there was a reason that they actually put her.
But there was no reason in this one.
Exactly.
So it seems. What do you think, Rich? 0 for themes.
Yeah, not to say that there weren't themes, they just weren't.
They weren't handled well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to mostly agree on much more to add. Like, yeah, whatever was there, like you said, was basically superficial. Like, it seemed to me that it might have had the potential to do something or, delve more deeply, but they just didn't.
Because, they never had the characters actually learn anything from any of this.
In fact, the opposite had that happen.
It's like they were all killed before they had a chance to, have that, come to Jesus moment where they're just especially for a dad, it's like, maybe I shouldn't have buried her and brought her back.
Yeah.
It's he's literally murdered the second he's about to come to terms with I should have kept her dead.
Yeah.
And just stabs through the heart.
Mm-hmm.
And then burns down Judd's house for some reason instead of bringing him back. I don't know.
This reminded me
that was sort of random as well, good.
This reminded me of the remake of Amityville Horror in that it was just all the surface bullshit of the original with none of the actual meat of it.
Sure. So it seems like a repeat of that. It looks like we're all giving themes a 0. So that'll bring us to antagonist. Chris, what do you think the antagonist is or was?
The screenwriters? It's kind of hard because part of the movie I wanted to blame the mom because basically if they were honest with the daughter about death and all that shit, maybe they wouldn't have had to have buried the cat and kept it from her.
They would have buried her anyway.
I don't know,
because Judd was just Judd's the one that
but yeah, so maybe Judd's the antagonist.
I don't know. I think that's true either.
But see, this is part of the problem of the movie, is because there is nobody has any motivation. I mean, yeah, there's motivation, but it's superficial at best.
Yes.
I mean, they kind of kept handing off who had what motivation when, and who was or was not speaking or giving anybody information. Judd is giving pretty much useless information. I kept flip-flopping between who I disliked more, the mom or the dad. So there is, to be honest with you, I don't see any clear antagonist in this because if we're gonna boil it down, you could probably make an argument for the mother, the father, and Judd.
I mean, undead cats and undead daughters.
No, Church
is the antagonist.
And, I was going to say Church and Ellie, Church and Undead Ellie were my favorite characters.
Within the theme of all.
Yeah, I'm just saying within
Church is always
within the confines of the story, those are these supernatural, scary elements. So the cat might be perhaps wasn't all of that terrifying,
but the problem is that everybody was underdone. I mean,
I agree with
there is no character. There was barely any character development in this, and part of that is because they really didn't develop Rachel's backstory with her sister and her parents. The fact that it wasn't just the father became obsessed with bringing his daughter back. But part of it was the fact that he was trying to not only bring their child back, but trying to correct for sins of the past that were her parents. As I remember,
let's not talk about that.
No, but
what we're talking about is this stupid thing that didn't have any of that in it.
No, but I'm trying to explain to you why I'm having a hard time discerning, because I don't think they knew what the antagonist was in this movie.
So there you go.
The Wendigo.
Is that what you're going with?
No.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think that the antagonist is certainly supposed to be
at least Ellie, perhaps at the end. Right?
Man's hubris, perhaps, like the hubris of man.
Don't fuck around with supernatural graveyards.
We could return things from the dead. It's fucking Frankenstein, but bad.
The hubris of man would be great if they actually.
If we thought that were
if they went with that, that'd be awesome.
I mean, that's kind of what it is, right? It's like he thinks he can master death because he's seen it happen with a cat, even though the cat turned out shitty. A shitty version of the cat.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, a shitty version of my daughter is better than no version, I guess.
No, he seemed kind of like grief psychotic. He didn't really seem to like nobody had any one of you said it all, but like nobody really had any agency in this at all. I mean, he all of a sudden just became kind of like this psychotic obsessive who wanted his family back. I don't feel like that was
the lands like feed off of the grief and twist it up.
Yeah, there was like a line or two that did like briefly that you're right, like mention that or
a line or two.
Yeah. Like I said, I mean, technically
they made an attempt.
Yeah.
Not saying it was good. Yeah.
I'm just saying I'm backing Rich up. Like, yeah, the movie like threw it in there for a second or two, but.
Yeah, it was mostly unimpressive and
not memorable.
Yeah, just unconvincing, I guess, in terms of like. Although, yeah, I think I'm gonna give Integ a 0.
All right.
Yeah, I agree. I'm gonna make it a 0.
I'm probably following suit as well. Like, I was gonna make a case for like at the very end, like the last like 20 minutes in the movie of Ellie, like zombie Ellie, like being an okay antagonist, but. It's too little too late, I think. Really.
Actually, I was rooting for Undead Ellie at the end.
like Undead Ellie, but yeah, she's like a victim of circumstance more than an antagonist, right?
Fair enough, sure. She didn't ask to come back.
Right.
I'm trying to.
The antagonist is racism.
Okay.
Because if that was a white ghost warning him not to bury Ellie in that yard, he would have listened to it.
He would have heeded it?
Yeah, he would have heeded that warning. It's like he ignores the Native Americans that like put the blockade there.
Yeah,
it's just like I'm just gonna climb all over this shit. Like well, what are they now?
So you ignored Native Americans. You ignored
because he's from Boston.
Black people, and you listened to Mike Pence. No. Judd
Mike
wasn't.
Pence.
What the hell does Mike Pence have to do with this?
No, I mean, no. I was gonna say is
I don't know.
Rachel's dad kind of looked like kind of Pence-esque.
I guess the 2 seconds he was in the fucking film.
The 2 seconds he was in the.
I don't even remember what he looked like.
I only remember because I'm like,
apparently.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm like, oh, he looks kind of Pensy.
But
that guy from X-Men.
I mean, I'm gonna probably follow suit as well. Like, I can't really make an argument for an antagonist. And I believe we're all giving it a 0.
Yeah.
Does anyone have anything to add to it, or at least
0?
to pile on the crap of the absence of antagonism?
Nah.
I think Rich's argument for racism was probably the strongest argument. So, it's definitely giving a 0.
All right. Well, then it'll be on to me for protag. So, I guess it's Dr. whatever. I don't remember his fucking name. Lewis. Sure. He was all right, I guess. But again, like you said something like he seemed to have zero, or like very little to no agency. He was given sort of an exposition dump by John Lithgow, his creepy, in quotes, like his strange older neighbor who knows what's up with the woods.
Yeah, after the fact.
Sure, like, and in fact, like John Lithgow was the one who's like, "Hey, come with me. Let's bury your kid's cat in this section of the woods." Like, it wasn't even Lewis's choice to begin with to mess with the supernatural woods. So like, oh man, you're right. Like, I wasn't really engaged with him as a character. Like, he really had no arc, or like a very limited one. That you're right. I think Richie said nobody learned anything, and it like figured anything out. I guess he realized he fucked up to the end, tried to like kill Ellie for real, and then ended up joining the like I said, becoming a undead family anyways. Mm-hmm. So like, he was sort of flat for the most part. So it's not that he did a bad job, but I assume he did the best the script gave him, but that isn't a lot. So I might just go again like a default 0, because it wasn't an interesting character. There wasn't enough to him.
Wait, backing up to antagonist, is bad parenting a bad antagonist? Because, I mean, obviously...
Sure, I guess, but what do you
what's
think they were...
antagonizing?
No, I mean, I'm just saying, I'm sitting here thinking, oh yeah, you're talking about all this. I'm like, yeah, we were talking about him not having any agency. I'm like, well, if anybody had any agency and fucking, like, dealt with things instead of avoiding them or whitewashing them or actually dealing with anything, maybe nothing that we wouldn't have been in this place.
Somebody did have agency in this movie, and it's the protagonist, and it's Ellie. Ellie had agency. Ellie did what she fucking wanted to do.
Yeah.
She's the reason that they discovered the Pet Sematary. She's the reason that, I mean, she died because she went out to the road, even though she wasn't supposed to. And she's the reason that her brother followed her out there, and the fucking trailer jack.
Stare at that fucking tanker as it was coming.
No, because the cat was coming down
she
the
definitely
road.
should have gotten out of the way. But like, honestly, I have a very good point to make in terms of Ellie having the most agency in this movie.
I mean, I'm actually agreeing with you.
She fucking did what she wanted to do and followed what she wanted to do, especially after she came back. I liked her even better at that point when she was like, you know, her whatever reason she was. And I have such a bone to pick with the intentions of the people that come back, but I'll talk about that maybe in style or something. But yeah, I mean, she came in, she fucking went after what she wanted and got it. The entire movie.
I guess she's the one that made friends with Judd.
True.
Yeah. She made friends with Judd. She went out of her way to like go into his house, like made friends with him. She brought him back for dinner. She was the reason that everything happened in this movie. And I like her as a protagonist, and I'm gonna give her a 1.
I mean, that's a pretty good point, actually. Yeah, like I was sort of defaultly like giving it to the father anyway, because traditionally they would.
I mean, technically you follow his story, right?
But you also follow Ellie's. I mean, you're right.
No, Steve-O, you made a really good point there.
More of her story.
And if I'll say Ellie's the protagonist, so yeah, I'll give protagonist a 1.
So what's funny is because like, we're not going to give this movie a good score probably, but you just convinced me to give something of 1 that I wasn't going to because of that. But I will. Like, it was a fair point, and I think you made a good job arguing it.
I mean, I really didn't even think of that argument until you guys were saying that like nobody had.
All right. Well done.
Agency, and I was like, oh shit, somebody did have agency in this movie.
Fair enough. All right, so we're giving Ellie a 1 then. We're giving Ellie protagonist credit and giving her a 1.
Yeah.
Alrighty. All right, back to you, Rich, with the secondary characters, which are like 2 of them, I guess.
No, yeah. Shit. For some reason, I thought I was on antagonist. All right, yeah. Secondary characters. I mean, I'm giving them a 1. Like, I liked everybody enough. Like, they're like, what I love the most about this movie, it was also infuriating.
Yeah.
Is how little any of these characters actually talk to each other.
I did know. Like, I was saving that for dialogue, but yes.
Poor communication kills.
Yeah, literally.
In droves. Like all the way to Pascal the ghost. Pascal the bloody friendly ghost trying to warn everybody what's happening. Like never
do it.
Like only manifests to Lewis, who does jack shit about it. Like doesn't even tell his wife, I'm being haunted by this man I failed to save. And like she doesn't tell her husband about being haunted by her sister.
Yeah, that's true.
And Judd refuses to tell anybody about the burial ground until after the cat comes back. She's like, hey, why's my cat back? She's like, oh, let me tell you a tale.
Oh, yeah.
This Indian burial ground with sour land. No, with bad land. Sour land. Oh, yeah, that's a good one. I'll use that next time.
What I said. Next time I explain it to the next family.
Story when I...
Yeah, we're in New Jersey and the sour lands are over there, so yeah.
Sure, but, I mean, like, yeah... I mean, to me, like, the biggest part, like, secondary was Lithgow, of course, as Judd. Yeah. And I think he did a pretty good job. I always like him generally. Like, he's pretty solid in almost anything he appears in. So, like, again, while we might blame the script for a lot of, like, the mishandlings of it, I think he did a solid... I enjoyed him when he was on screen and his part in the movie. And everyone else was there, like, mostly, like, below him, if you will, like, in terms of roles.
How different this movie would have been if he had shot her in the face.
That would have been awesome.
Well, it would have been over then. But I like...
Yeah, that's why it would have been awesome.
So I had to worry about the cat.
Lithgow for the most part, but there were like some scenes that he played that I was like, why did he do it like that?
Yeah, all right.
I don't know what it was of it. Like overall, the performance was good, but like there were some parts where I was like, that seems like a strange choice of like a way to play this. So I mean, I can't hate on it because I enjoyed him overall, and him and Ellie were probably 2 characters I enjoyed the most in this.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I'm gonna end up giving it a 1. I'm gonna give Church a 1.
Yeah. Well, I was waiting for one of you to do that, but go ahead, Chris.
Oh, I was gonna say I'm giving it 1 because of Church and Victor Pascal.
All right.
It's like he is like Cassandra. I mean, it's just
Yes, that's true.
So I mean, I'm giving him credit because I cared more about him than pretty much almost anybody else in this movie. John Lithgow is a great actor. His character was kind of empathetic to irritating. But I thought Church was really cool. The one of 4 cats that got to play him, and I really liked Victor Pascal too. So,
all right.
As in the 1988 version, I liked him in that. The one person they have not been able to screw up so far is Victor. So he's getting a 1.
All right. Well, fair enough. That'll be 1s all round, and we'll be dialogue, and that'll be you, Steve-O.
The dialogue.
Tell us about the Wendigo.
Movie is not very well done.
Yes.
It's not the worst dialogue I've ever seen. It's fucking.
But it's pretty lame. I'll say that.
It's almost passable. But the problem is that it's not supported by any other aspect of this movie, unfortunately. Yeah, I'm probably gonna give dialogue a 0. I don't really have much good to say about it, and it's pretty forgettable. As you said, Scott, when I got here, I think you said I have already forgotten about this movie.
Yeah, exactly.
The only dialogue that I really liked was Undead Ellie's. But as we've often talked about...
That's true, that wasn't bad.
No, as we often talked about, for me personally, the easiest score to get is dialogue. All you have to do is be natural. But I was really bored, and my eyes were rolling for the first 2/3 of the film, and people were talking during that. So
I mean, people on screen.
Yeah. So, and that would count as dialogues. It's getting a 0 from me. I'm sorry, Undead Ellie.
The rare 0 from Chris on
Undead Ellie and Victor Pascal cannot save the rest of the dialogue.
They don't outweigh the other shit. What do you think, Rich?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to give it a 0.
Yeah. I'm doing the same pretty much. Like, you're right. It was just unengaging. And I guess that's the word I can say about this entire movie. Like, I was disinterested in, like, almost all of it. You're right. There were, like, brief flashes of a couple moments here and there where I thought it was, like, all right. But that isn't still saying all that much.
Right.
So I'm going to also go along with the 0 on dialogue. They didn't say much, and we don't have to say much about them not saying much.
Exactly.
All right. So let's go on to, here you go, Chris. Style.
I am so excited. Well, first of all, can I just talk about the bad photoshopping of young John Lithgow and his wife? That's awesome. Can I also talk about this is like totally remind me of like, as a Trekkie, I love, it's just like the hi, we're on location, hi, we're on set. So obvious when they switch from location to set. It was just almost embarrassing.
That is a good way to describe the style here.
I mean,
it's a good way to describe the movie.
This is a big budget film. Okay, great. I've seen TV that does this better. I've seen Star Trek from the 90s that does this better. Oh yeah, Christopher Young's score. Christopher Young had an amazing score for the first 2 Hellraisers. I was so disappointed because there was music in the background. Michael Abels, when I was talking about Us before, his atmosphere, it wasn't wallpaper. It really added something. I heard music to this.
There was music playing.
There was music playing,
I said to you.
And I like Christopher Young. Don't get me wrong, but it added nothing to the film. Which look, if he phoned this in, that's fine because he got a paycheck. Bless his heart.
He clearly did. But...
Bless his heart. Everybody else phoned this shit in.
Yeah.
Style, and as I was saying before, with the book,
people that work their asses off.
Hey, look, they got paychecks doing something they love. So as somebody
more than I can say for us. So.
Yeah, I mean, like seriously, as somebody who was a PA before, anybody who works on a film and is doing PA stuff because he had to clean up Cheerios and bullshit like that.
Specific.
Listen, or Cheetos. I think it was Cheetos.
Whatever.
Anyway,
some snack that starts with a C.
Some snack. Dealing with the craft service. I mean, bless them all. It's not their fault this movie sucked. But as I was saying before, the book had such great atmosphere. There was not a long book, but the book really took you in. Had a lot of great atmosphere into it, and even the remake, which the 1988 version had an atmosphere there. Even
if it was a bit cheesy,
this film had no atmosphere at all whatsoever. There is nothing. So this is getting a pretty big fucking 0 from me. As we often say, like, hey, style's probably getting the biggest 0. I think style is getting the biggest, style is getting the biggest 1 in a lot of films that we say, like, hey.
At least recently that's been the case.
Yeah, the style is getting the biggest 0 for me because there was no style in this.
I would say 2 things about the style. Number 1, in the opening shots, hey, nice fucking model. Like, it was so obviously noticeable, and I was like, that's not a good sign. Like, I noticed that the original, like, again, like, within the opening, like, establishing shot of the woods.
Yeah.
And also, like, and right after that, the establishing shot, like, the camera's, like, closing in. There's a shot, like, coming in towards the house where you see the blood and stuff. But I was like, I don't know if it was intentional, and if it was, like, what the point of it, to the effect was. The camera was, like, shaky. I'm like, did they get, like, somebody who didn't know how to handle a camera to shoot this? Well, like, I just noticed it, and it was, like, really odd.
I have something to say about that, is because a lot of times, and this is how I knew the movie was going to suck right away, a lot of times if like in a TV show or something, you'll see this a lot, if they're not really sure that the narrative's working, what they do is they switch the ending to the beginning, so you get a mystery as to what's going on. How did we get here? What's going on? How did we get here? You show them the end result. So as soon as I saw that, I'm like, this movie's probably going to suck because they probably got to, like, there's no real narrative. There's nothing to keep people in their seats. So
is that how you felt about Fight Club, Chris?
No, that's not how I felt about Fight Club.
It's like the opposite.
Fight Club was done intentionally. You can always tell. And right away, I saw this and I twigged to the fact that they do not have a narrative for this film. So they're putting the ending in the beginning.
All right. Well, I'm giving it a 0 as well, pretty handily.
I hated so much how many jump scares were in this movie.
Yes, I was waiting for one of you to say that.
Like, as soon as that first one with the truck, I was like, oh my God, it's going to be one of those. Yeah. And then, like, as soon as I introduced her sister, whose entire role was to drop down from fucking
in a dumbwaiter.
Yeah, drop down in a dumbwaiter. She was like the fucking Santa Claus from the old Tim Allen movie, where she's just making dumbwaiters appear out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Just so she can fall down them and give jump scares.
Oh my God.
Like, I just hated it. I hated it so much.
I'm going to back you up. I agree.
Yeah.
There were too many jump scares, and they were so just overdone and not, like, ineffective completely.
It's like
you can see them coming.
Jump scares have been overdone for, like, 15 fucking years now. Like, every single movie has them, and I just want people to start moving away from them.
I'm still saying, like,
and this one just laid it on way too thin.
It's fine if you have jump scares here and there, but you have to know when to use them effectively. This movie did neither of those, so
I think jump scares, like any other thing in film,
they have their use.
Can be effective if you use them properly. If you fucking just throw 15 of them into a movie because it's supposed to be a scary movie, you don't know what you're doing.
Well, take for example the trailer. I don't know what y'all have for the trailers, but we had that James Wan film where you could see in the trailer, it's like every other horror movie of this ilk where they show you where the jump scares are. And this film was the same thing. They were projecting the jump scares. And by the way, Rich, you said jump scares. Did anybody jump at any of the jump scares?
No, because either I was like so bored, I was like,
I think I jumped at
the truck one didn't get me. I was like, all right, like you said, like, all right, great, they're setting up jump scares, and you kept like noticing them throughout. So yeah, no, like, I guess I don't know how else to say this, but I don't jump at any jump scares, almost any. Like, I'm better. I don't say like I've seen so.
Like, you're better than everybody else.
Yes, I've seen so many.
I think the only reason I didn't jump is because like they fucking foreshadowed it so hard. Like they like. It was just almost like a giant neon sign, like
exactly.
Jump scare imminent.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's how I felt too. So that's why I didn't do it because like, well, here comes one.
Yeah, I kept trying to count the seconds to each jump scare.
I've got a short rant if we're done talking about jump scares.
What do you got?
This is not confined to this movie, but it bothers me. When they come back and they're like evil, right? I'm not sure why they're antagonistic towards, or why they like. What is the point of them? What is the point of them coming back and like being off? Right? Like if you're off, like I thought it was just like they're more aggressive.
I'll answer you real quick.
That makes sense.
Horror, and horror.
Yeah, exactly. There's like no fucking explanation to this shit at all. Like. If they come back and they're more aggressive, okay, that's something I can wrap my head around. Like, that makes sense. All right, fine. Something changed their brain chemistry, whatever. However you want to explain it. It doesn't matter how you explain it. But, like, all right, they're aggressive. But that would also mean that if they encountered other undead things, they would also be aggressive towards them. It wouldn't be like, oh, we're trying to build a fucking undead army for no goddamn reason. I don't understand what the point of them trying to get more people to be undead was.
It's like that entire rant that she went on to, or the breaking speech that she gave to Judd made no fucking sense.
Yeah,
like, They just made me even more confused.
Exactly.
Which
Agreed.
speech? Which speech?
No, when she's talking to Judd and like telling him, it's like, hey, your wife's burning in hell.
Yeah.
Because of what you did to her. I'm like, wait, what?
And you're like, hold on.
What did he do to her?
We didn't talk about any of this stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, wait,
And
why?
and
She
we're not-
takes off the mask, like, why do you have shape-shifting powers now?
And we're not
I was going to mention that too. I was waiting for you.
She
Yeah.
just fucking stabs him. And also, if they're trying to make an undead army or whatever, why didn't they bring Judd back?
Exactly. Like, I was waiting for that.
We're just like, oh, we're having,
because he had a bump foot.
we just want our
It
family.
doesn't matter.
Yes,
she had a bum face.
This makes no
They
sense.
just want an undead family
at all.
But you're right. Like
But
it completely like it sets up some like vague rule, and then it was like, nah, fuck that, like
Fuck
whatever,
that
right?
rule. Yeah.
Like I was saying
Ah,
before,
drove me
if they
crazy.
had just gotten to a point in the script when they said, fuck this movie sucks, let's go the Peter Jackson route and do Dead Alive and made the whole film like
That'd have been awesome.
to cut off like a third of the film and make the whole last film about her running around and the father trying to cover things up. The ticking clock could be the mother coming home with Gage
Sure.
and him trying to cover
God,
things
we
up.
could have had like a Ferris Bueller style
Yeah.
race.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And that would have been sweet.
Trying to get home.
That would have been way better.
Set the odometer back on this one, baby.
That would have been amazing.
That would have been awesome.
versus what we did get to see.
And have her
And
could
then,
be like,
as he's running, he's like, the truck driver's passing by, and he looks cheering.
He's like looking over at him. He's like, yeah.
Daddy, I wasn't able to see the end of my birthday party. You owe me the rest of the birthday party. And she's trying to run around, kill all, it would have been an amazing movie.
Yes.
So
But
good.
too bad that it didn't
Well, it
happen.
wasn't.
So
Well, it wasn't.
it wasn't
Anyway.
that. So we're giving it zeros. Looks like the style for sure. The hardest of all zeros, as you said,
Mhm.
Chris. Which will bring me finally to recommendation. No. Do not see the new Pet Sematary. It is not worth it. It is completely forgettable. I'm already forgetting it, and I saw it hours earlier today. So, and like, it's, maybe this is my rant, like, and this has been going on for a while, and we've mentioned it a number of times. They're just digging up literally digging up, if you will, old movies and shit, like, to remake. Like, some of them, like, exceptions exist. For example, we did like the new Halloween.
Yes,
The new
very
It.
much.
Yes. Right? So those were good. But this one, like, you might as well watch, and yeah, it's still cheesy, but it's better than this movie. You might as well watch the original 89 adaptation, or just fucking read the book, I guess, because this one was completely, like, there was no point to this movie existing to me.
Yeah.
So that's my rant and my
Nostalgia.
I wish I could bury this movie, so then when it comes back, fucking kill it again.
hero. Then strangle it again.
This is the returned version of
Yeah.
the movie.
Yeah, and it came back wrong.
Yeah.
Burn it in effigy.
That's my rant, and that's my zero for recommendation.
So if you want to see a movie about murderous versions of the protagonists, go see us. It's out in theaters right now.
Oh yeah,
Go
go
see
see
it.
us.
Go see it.
See-
Don't watch this movie.
see Peter Jackson's Dead Alive.
There you go.
We'll see that anyways.
Another
But
good
no,
one.
I see what you mean. Yeah, that's pretty good
Yeah.
reference, Steve. Yeah.
I'm gonna recommend a 0. It's not worth it. What are we gonna give this, like a 4 or something? I don't know if it's as bad as that.
It looks
but
like
it's,
looks like we're giving it a 3. In fact,
but it's not great.
No, it's as bad as that. I mean, I was like, my eyes were rolling back in my head. I'm like, oh my god, there's so much padding in this. Oh my god, I'm like, come on.
and it wasn't even a 2 hour long. It was less than 2 hours.
It was
like
an
1:40
hour
or
and
something.
41 minutes.
Yeah.
It didn't need to be an hour and 41 minutes.
I'd say if you just asked me, like, on the street after I got out of this movie, like, what would you give it on a scale of 1 to 10? I'd probably say like a 5.
Yeah.
5 or 6. So I don't know if I agree it's as bad as a 3, but we're gonna give it a 3 on the scale because a lot of these things are just subpar.
No,
Yeah, 'cause it misfires in so many places.
Yeah.
and the problem is, it actually did have potential.
Sure.
Yeah.
Because credit where credit is due. He was acting a little psychotic, but Jason Clarke did a really good job.
He did a fine job.
Yeah, what I'm saying is the actors, it was not the actors'
Sure,
fault.
yes.
They did really well with what they were given. They were not given a lot,
Yeah. Exactly.
and they did a lot with what they were not given.
Ellie's actress did a really good job of being creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
she
agree.
was
I
great.
thought she did really good.
And we gave her a 1, but it's not enough for me to go say, hey, go see Pet Sematary. Or like wait till it like gets released on fucking channels and watch it.
Yeah, watch it on DVD.
Yeah.
If you come home one night and you realize, oh my god, Pet Sematary, we're an hour in, then you can watch it because the last half hour is worth watching.
It might be good for like a bad horror movie night or something like that.
But I wouldn't recommend seeing it.
Just watch the original Pet Sematary though.
Yeah,
read the book. It's a quick read. It's a great atmosphere.
Do it in a night. Do it with friends.
And the funny thing is,
reading.
Do a book reading.
Read together.
Everybody take a part.
See us. Go see us. Don't waste your money on this. Go see us.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Does anyone else have anything to say about recommendation or fucking Pet Sematary in general?
No.
Other than we said. So yeah, we all gave it 3s for the exact same reasons, which gives an average of a 3. And you're right, Steve. Like I'd probably say it's like a 4 or 5 on like an arbitrary like rating outside of our scale, but on our scale, that's what it's earning, and that's what it's gonna get.
Yeah.
I'm going to go bury it, and hopefully it doesn't come back at all. I'm going to bury it just before the fucking, like, the dividing line of the thing. So it's definitely dead. I'll never have to see it again. Well, I think that'll do it for a review of 2019 Pet Sematary. Any final thoughts, my friends?
No.
Other than don't see.
No.
All right. Well, I've been Scott Thurlow, and I've been here with Rich Perry. Happy birthday to Rich, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, happy birthday, Rich.
Happy birthday, Rich.
Sometimes not having a remake is better.
Yes.
Damn it.
Stephen Amosi, who apparently was going to say that.
Man, I was just going to say sometimes that is better, but now it's just sometimes the joke about dead being better, being dead is better.
All right. And Chris Morgan.
I don't want to be buried in a pet cemetery. Listen to the Ramones.
Oh, I forgot to use it.
Oh, nice.
And with that, we'll see you next time. Good night.
Editing and engineering by Christopher Morgan. Music by Christopher Morgan. Check us out on YouTube and iTunes for the shows, and on Facebook and Twitter for updates. Or mods?